Hello class. This is my outline of the critical assignment. My name is Carlos Alvarado, and this is MPA 570, week 7. Quick overview. We're going to go over the problem analysis, the stakeholders, the policy alternative number 1, as it is right now, policy alternative number 2, and policy alternative number 3, evaluation matrix, and the justification, and the conclusion and the recommendation. Problem analysis will be for hate crimes in California. We're going to analyze the current policies that are current as of right now. Stakeholders for hate crimes is the major ones in the United States are the SPLC and the NACCP. There is many more out there, and these are the ones I'm going to focus on in my paper. The current policy in California is for hate crimes is California Penal Code 42.55. There's a bunch of alternatives in case, depending on what kind of hate crimes committed. And we also have the Federal Penal Code 18 USC 245. These are the current policies that are in effect. Right now, if you get a hate crime felony, you get an enhancement for 3 years in California on top of your other crimes that you commit. And right now, the current budget to house an inmate in California is 106,131 per year per inmate as of the 2021-2022 budget for California. Policy alternative number 2 is restorative justice. The outcome is a different way of dealing with crime convictions, and it's to prevent less crimes to be hate crimes from happening, and also to prevent less crowded jails. And the timeline would be the same amount of time that the inmates get sentenced. So if they get sentenced for 3 years, then it will be 3 years. It could vary, but sometimes it could be less, and they would be, instead of going to jail, it'll be more of counseling therapy for both the victim and the offender. This would budget, we will go from use the same budget from policy alternative number 1, which is 106,000 it costs to house an inmate. It could cost less because the other alternative, instead of sending them to jail or prison, they go to counseling, which could cost a lot less and save us taxpayers a lot of money per year, and it also would help the offenders go to therapy, counseling for their to be rehabilitated and come out back to the community. Policy alternative number 3. This policy, we would increase the severity of hate crimes. So the anticipated outcome would be less crimes committed because the inmates will be in jail longer. So this timeline will double from 3 years, and now it will be 6 years. And the budget it will be double of what it was for policy alternative number 1, which would be 106,131 per year, but now for 6 years instead of 3 years, which is the most expensive, and it costs us taxpayers a lot of money to house inmates. So this is the harshest for an inmate, but it's also the most expensive. This is the evaluation matrix and justification. As you can see, policy alternative number 1, it's in the middle from policy number 2 and number 3, but policy number 1 and number 3 are not that much different. So with policy alternative number 2, with the restorative justice, less hate crimes the anticipated outcome would be that less hate crimes are committed because of all the counseling the timeline would be shorter because the punishments won't be as long, and they would also get more counseling and rehab and to get back into society. And then the budget, as you can see, policy alternative number three of doubling jail time is more expensive, which in policy alternative number two is the least expensive. And overall, policy alternative number two could be the best solution in the future, but and as stated in the last slide, the recommendation would be case by case, but use policy alternative number two when possible. This would help us save a lot of money in not housing inmates, and it would rehab the offenders, and also um, they're more likely not to recidivize more crime. And so that is a recommendation that I'm going to be going for in my paper. And I'd just like to say thank you guys and good luck. And we're almost done with this course.